Brain-bending sci-fi puzzle odyssey The Talos Principle 2 arrived just when I needed it most. You see, last week my wife got COVID, meaning on top of quarantining from each other in a very small house, we had to cancel the Halloween party we'd been planning for weeks and postpone our 2-year wedding anniversary celebration. I know. Strangely, however, I will look back on what should have been a miserable week with nothing but fond memories, thanks almost entirely to the Talos Principle 2, my new frontrunner for Game of the Year, and frankly a game I believe worthy of entering that gilded pantheon of video game goats. As was the case for Portal 2, the Talos Principle 2, or TP2, dramatically improves upon its predecessor in every material way, be it narratively, mechanically, or stylistically. For the uninitiated, TP1 revolved around a dreamy, puzzle-solving simulation that was guided by the profound and philosophical, not to mention potentially nefarious Elohim, who sprinkled interesting existential questions atop the game's excellent puzzle-driven levels, that each ended with you collecting a floating Tetramino-shaped sigil then used to unlock new puzzles. It's an overwhelmingly positive cult hit for a reason, but it was ultimately just an individualized simulation. In TP2, meanwhile, you are wide awake and you are not alone. That's right, welcome 1K to New Jerusalem, where you're the 1000th android to awaken and the culmination of a society-shared goal to reach 1,000 citizens. But now what? Your birthday serves as an inflection point for the city. Do we stop at 1K and live under this half-finished dome for fear of ending up like our environmentally reckless and very extinct human ancestors? Or do we instead choose to learn from their mistakes and continue growing and exploring? When a strange particle cloud appears at your birthday celebration, takes the form of Prometheus, and invites you to a faraway island megastructure before being chained by Pandora, who tells you to ignore everything you just saw, I think we're probably going to go ahead and choose option B, explore. Surrounding the megastructure are a system of towers that, when activated, open up sections of the megastructure for you to explore. You'll need to complete a cluster of 8 puzzles in order to power up a tower, and then you'll have to do that 2 more times before RGB tower lights converge to open a single side of the megastructure. And doing so each time delivers a new bombshell plot point, none of which I'll spoil. Instead, I'll say this. TP2's story is about as good as it gets in gaming. The well-paced plot retains all of TP1's existential charm, but injects it with socio-political intrigue and surprising emotional weight thanks to an incredible cast of characters, all of whom stand out as ironically unique despite their near-identical appearance. Credit this to delightful writing and voice acting that oscillates effortlessly between earnest insight and wry humor.
Right, before you go, dude, maybe you can help me? I'm not sure I should keep this voice pack.
Really, it's just a joy interacting with the many citizens of New Jerusalem. And they're not even why you're here. No, you're here to solve puzzles in interesting ways, and boy have you come to the right place. TP2 features some of your favorite tools from the first, including the laser connector, the force field blocking jammer, and the self-evident fan, as well as a host of new mind-melting gadgets like the driller, accumulator, RGB switcher, and many more. Each 8-puzzle cluster introduces and features one of these new mechanics, which I felt was about the perfect length, as every time I grew tired of the status quo, TP2 reinvented itself. The puzzle designs themselves are equally inventive, and tightrope tiptoe the fine line between making you feel like a genius and a complete idiot. But if you ever get truly and desperately stuck, as I once did, you can scavenge the land for a rare Prometheus flame that will auto-complete the level for you. This player-friendly feature combines with the fact that you can approach each cluster's 8 puzzles in any order you wish to create a flexible go-at-your-own-pace kind of playthrough that wins bonus playability points for being bug-free and polished to a T. The only thing holding this micrometric back from a 5 is some occasional frame rate lag and fussy controls that I could not stop tripping over. You see, you're constantly having to switch between right and left triggers or mouse buttons depending on how you're playing, and sometimes the right button won't click, so you'll click the left, but then the right button input goes through, so you do a double grab and a connector just resets the whole damn level and you just... Suffice to say, if you get frustrated by anything in this game, just go try something else for a while, even if that something else is just wandering around TP2's gorgeous, gigantic, and secret-stuffed world. There's a nice blend of biomes here, from lush forests to frigid mountaintops to red rock desert oases, and each have their own little surprises. Speaking of, I highly recommend taking a spin through New Jerusalem prior to joining the Megastructure Expedition, because it's not often you'll return, and there is a ton of world-building lore to unpack here, including some wonderful little text-based adventure games that I spent way too long playing. Wherever you end up going in TP2, it's all but guaranteed to be stylistically memorable. The game sports dozens of jaw-dropping superstructure spectacles from afar, high-quality textures up close, nice lighting throughout, and an excellent multi-genre soundtrack that manages to amplify every scene without overpowering it. While the game's sound design is simply good as far as environmental ambiance is concerned, the sound syncs up nicely with the game's user interface during puzzle solving to create a satisfying and responsive audio-visual connection. In the end, the Talos Principle 2 is a masterwork. Across the over 50 hours I've spent in game, just about everything I encountered exceeded if not obliterated my expectations. To do all this for $30 is worthy of top marks for value, not to mention the highest aggregate megascore I have ever given a game. The last thing I'll say is that you don't need to play the Talos Principle to enjoy TP2, but if you haven't and you're interested, let me know in a comment and I'll select a random winner to receive a TP1 key. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.